Stop getting bad AI responses with this one formatting trick that made Claude 10 times smarter.
And it takes 1 minute to learn. If you've ever asked Claude for something and gotten a response that's close, but not quite what you needed, this is why, and it's not about writing a longer prompt. Let's start with what most people do. Maybe typing a request into Claude as one long paragraph with context, instructions, and details all mixed together. Something like write a proposal for a client who wants a website. They have a small budget, keep it professional, but not stiff. Claude will answer, it will. But look at the response. It's getting at what matters most to you because everything in your prompt has equal weight. No section stood out as this is the priority. That's the problem. Putting everything into one block, expecting Claude to read your mind about what's context versus what is the instruction. But on the free plan, every message counts towards your hourly, I think like 5 hour limits, right? So a vague prompt that needs like 3 follow-up messages to fix it is actually costing you more than a well-structured one that gets it right at the first time. Next thing we're going to talk about is the actual trick that fixes this for you, and it is shorter than this scattered, unorganized version you just saw. So here's the formatting trick. Instead of one paragraph, break your prompt into 3 clear parts, each with its own label. Context, who this is for and any background Claude needs. Second, task, exactly what you want to be done. And third, format, how you want the output to look, the length, the tone, the structure. So that same proposal prompt becomes something like this. Here's the context. Client wants a 5-page business website. Budget is limited. They are first-time clients. And then the task is this. Write a proposal that outlines scope, timeline, and pricing. And then this is the format. Formal, professional, but warm tone under 300 words. Use short paragraph, not a wall of text. We still have the same information as before, but completely different results. Because now Claude knows what's your background and what's an instruction. So we're going to run this and watch what happens now. The response come back tighter, more relevant, and closer to something you'd actually send to a client without editing it like 5 times. So if you've been following this series, this is the practical version of the SML tag structuring I showed you earlier on. You do not need the tags every time, right? But the same idea of separating your prompt into clear labeled parts, it's what's doing the work right here. You need to know how to separate it into various tags. All right. So now there's one more layer to this that most people do not really consider, and this is the difference between a good prompt and the one you can send as it is. If Claude keeps making the same mistake in your responses, maybe like too long, too formal, missing specific details, don't keep correcting it after the fact. Add a fourth section, which is constraints. This is where you name the things it keeps getting wrong. You name it upfront. Constraints like do not use the word revolutionary, keep paragraph 2 to 3 sentences, do not include a price hit, just the scope and timeline. This one section can save you an entire back and forth time. Okay, so instead of catching the mistake after Claude makes it, you are ruling it out before it happens. So here's where this actually pays off. The next time a client sends you a vague brief and you need to turn it into a clear scope of work, don't retype their old email into Claude as one block. Pull out the context, define the task, set your format, and add constraints for anything you already know you don't want. You get something client ready in one pass instead of a draft you have to rebuild every time, maybe with like TV chats. So let me know in the comment section what's that one thing Claude keeps getting wrong in your prompts. Like the thing you find yourself correcting over and over again in every chat. Drop it in the comment section. I might even turn it into its own video in this series. And this is part of a full series I'm doing on Claude entirely on the free plan. The playlist is linked below if you want the rest of the video. And if you want my prompt structures and templates, my AI content kit has them ready for you to copy. And the link is in the description below. So I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.